that's, again, just a little perspective. But getting on to some of the other things that we talk about all the time at the Mackinac Center, and we have lots of volumes of writings about all of these things as well. Of course, eliminating the Michigan business tax and the surcharge, not just the surcharge, but the business tax, and replace it with significant cuts in government spending. There are, for instance, states that live without one of the three major taxes, business, income, and sales, typically outperform states that have all three. So other states can do it. There are roadmaps out there. Another one that we talk a lot about is passing right-to-work legislation. In fact, one of our policy analysts says there may be no greater single economic development policy that Michigan could adopt than right to work.
Can I stop you
Absolutely.
there so people understand what we're talking about? Maybe a better choice of words would be the freedom to choose being a member or not a member of a union. And we know that the 4 top states for doing business and attracting business are all right-to-work states. We do know that. I have introduced legislation to allow for, in many ways, it might be almost a pilot project. I call it local option right-to-work legislation. In other words, allow local communities to decide for themselves if they feel the freedom of choice would be something that would be valuable, and then to measure that success. First, I think the timing now is good for a debate, a discussion to follow. That doesn't mean we're going to enact wholesale freedom of choice for all workers in this state immediately, but I think the time has come to open up a discussion.
I agree, and that is something too, a lot of times you'll hear legislators like yourself who will say, I agree with right to work or freedom of choice to join a union or not, but the timing just isn't right. So that's definitely, again, another step in the right direction, at least to opening the discussion about the debate. So
that's the hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one, the Public Employee Relations Act. A review of that. Of course, local government employee unions receive most of their power under the state law known as PERA, Public Employee Relations Act. And we really saw a lot of that and are still seeing a lot of that going on in Detroit. Of course, the local government employee unions rejected Mayor Dave Bing's, the concessions that he wanted. You recently saw illegal strike against Oakland University. And of course, here in Lansing, usually they're the chief, local government employee unions are usually the chief foes of a plan to restructure local government when you're talking about employee health care benefits. So at least a review of PERA, you know, some people would say repeal the whole thing. If not that, at least a reform or an overhaul of it. So, so as to, you know, free up, so there's not such a stranglehold on the way government conducts its business.
Well, I think what you're getting at is the world has dramatically changed over the last even 5 years. And what we're seeing is better working relationships overall between employers and employees. They need each other. Toyota, for example, in Kentucky was able to even surpass some UAW wages 3 years ago. So what we're saying now is that there's a synergy building. It's not the confrontation that it used to be. In addition, for government contracts, I think we should be looking at dealing with getting rid of the prevailing wage stranglehold as well, so that we can employ people. We want to put people to work, and people want to work. So what are the obstacles? What are the roadblocks? What can we do? Certainly, we respect the worker.
Absolutely.
And workers, I think, today can negotiate very well because of the need for the kind of expertise, the kind of talents. You know, they have wonderful, wonderful work ethics here in this state. I think there's a workforce ready to go. We're not trying to undermine the workforce or their wages, but we think the world has dramatically changed, and we want to help that process. It's part of reform and restructuring.
Right, and it's a big one, though, and as you mentioned, you know, it's something that a lot of people are very timid to at least even bring to the table to discuss. But these are some of the heavy lifting type things that need to happen that haven't so far for whatever reason. Also, another one I mentioned briefly, the regulatory climate in Michigan. You know, rein that in. If you have a business that's thinking about coming to Michigan versus another state, and for whatever reason, the permits and all of the red tape that this business would have to go through to locate in Michigan, they don't have that in this other state. Despite maybe some tax credits that you might get, they're still going to pick that other state.
Exactly. It's a number of factors that a business will look at. Certainly the regulatory climate is important, the taxes that have to be paid, the labor market. But Michigan has so much going for itself. Let's remember too, let's stress our strengths. The wonderful resources we have, our universities, our medical centers, a trained workforce, and so on. So all of, you know, there's a balance here. And we're starting to look at all these things. Kathy, let me ask you, in the little limited time we have left, some thoughts that you really would like to focus on before we have to say goodbye today?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, I do want to go back to the film incentive, and I want to stress that the Mackinac Center and you, and I'm sure yourself and other people who have been outspoken against it, it's not that we don't want the film industry to succeed in Michigan. We want all industries to succeed in Michigan. We want the film industry, we want tourism, we want all of these, but we want it to succeed because Michigan is a good place to do business, not because there are people who won't do the heavy lifting, therefore have to resort to the flashy gimmicks.
You just said it all. We're not trying to do away with this incentive. We're trying to cap it responsibly, make it affordable. Kathy, it's great to have you with us. I'd like you to come back and tell us more. And to everyone, all our viewing public, you've been with us this entire year. I hope these sessions have been informative, and I would really appreciate your feedback. Happy holidays to all of you. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you so much.